All right, we are back on MorningLine. Final segment this morning talking about what we might expect tomorrow in the debate, how it's all going to be set up here at Belmont University, Nashville. The eyes of the world will be on the final second presidential debate. With us this morning is Professor John Koch from Vanderbilt. Good morning to you, sir. Thanks again for joining us so early this morning.
No, my pleasure. Glad to be here.
So how important in your mind is this debate? I suspect it'll be different to some degree from the first one because of what was learned in that last one and how to handle it. But is it that big a deal? You talked about undecideds before, and I find it hard to believe there can be anyone out there still on the fence can't decide the difference between these two candidates. I think you're going to be leaning one way or the other because they are so very different.
Right. So there are a few reasons to think of, a few ways to think about the impact of the debate. I already talked about earlier this morning about increasing voter information, which is important. I mean, the other way people think about these is, do they affect the outcome? And the answer to that is maybe at the margins in swing states. So as we become more politically polarized and people vote earlier, there's less and less undecided voters this late in the game. So for what's left of undecided voters, it might impact their decision at the margins, which in swing states could still make a difference.
Gotcha. Let's take a few more phone calls. We have Taylor next. Taylor, good morning. Hi, Taylor.
Good morning, Nick, and good morning to the professor. I first want to say this first guest you had this morning was excellent. I got more out of him than I have on most of these other doctors that have come on to discuss that. Let me get back to at hand. I think, first of all, these debates, all three of them have been scheduled too late, and I give very little credit to this commission, especially since all three of it's a 6-member commission, and all three of the Republicans are no Trumpers. So that doesn't help any. And two things about tomorrow's debate. First of all, the categories. Two categories were added after the agreement without the president having any say-so, and that came from the moderator. The moderator for this debate is an NBC gal that has all 4 years been a constant guest on MSNBC, bashing the president, and now here she is going to moderate this debate. And they have added the mute button, which that'll work out. But the commission, not only in this debate, but if you look at the history since 1988, there is constant problems with this. It's even a problem on how the commission is funded by 5 or 6 donors that aren't even listed.
All right, Taylor, since we're up against it, you make some good points. I want to give our guest a chance to respond to that. I'll say this. Fairness is very important, isn't it? Of course, Professor, and you hear what Taylor's bringing up. And I do think about moderators in the past, and if there's one that I really admired was Jim Lehrer. You never knew where he stood at all. Jim Lehrer, I thought, did a terrific job, the late, great Jim Lehrer. Yeah, if what Taylor's saying, and I've heard of some of this about this moderator, I mean, what about coming up with the issue of fairness, which is something that the president harps on a lot, and I think sometimes he's right. I think a lot of times he's wrong on that too, and just likes to say people are treating him unfair, and that just comes with the presidency. But what do you think about fairness?
I don't know this year. Usually both campaigns have a say in who the moderators are going to be. They might provide a list of moderators who are acceptable, or they might even negotiate the moderator. So I don't know if that happened this year, but more to the point, both sides have their issues with the Commission on Presidential Debates, and they have since 1988. So, that's not a new issue. They both think there's fairness questions on both sides of that. And then if you start talking about third parties and the rule about how third parties qualify, right? Third parties have even more complaints about the Commission on Presidential Debates.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I would just say this, and is this not true? I mean, I hear what Taylor's saying, but neither one of these participants is required to participate. Either one, as we saw with the president for what was scheduled to be the second one, don't want to do it. I mean, so they agree to this going in, and if they don't like it and they feel it's unfair, all the president had to do is say, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, but candidates are not required to do these debates, and we've had candidates pull out of debates dating all the way back to 1980 when Reagan and Carter couldn't agree on the participation of a third-party candidate.
Yeah, so the way I view it is they both have gone into this agreeing to what the terms are going to be, and if afterward either Biden or Trump are complaining about how it played out because they didn't think it was fair, I mean, you can say that. But I'm going to say, look, you agreed to this. You agreed to this moderator. You agreed to these questions. If you didn't like it, you didn't have to do it. That's my take. Once you're in, you're in. I don't want to hear any complaints afterwards. Okay? That's kind of it. Unless there's just a blatant thing. And I do believe the moderator, like Jim Lair was, has to be fair. All right, let's go next to Sharon. Hi, Sharon. Are you there, Sharon?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead.
I think it's unfair how President Trump has been treated by the media. For instance, on your channel today, I watched twice. It showed the ballot being marked at Joe Biden at the top. That makes a subliminal comment for those people watching, vote for Joe Biden.
Oh, okay. Well, and I have not seen that, and you're right. If we're showing ballots, we shouldn't show who's being voted for. I don't know what you've seen on that, but yeah, again, fairness comes into play, and there's a lot of people, but so many people. Every president, sir, is going to be questioned and vetted, and this president seems to think that doesn't happen. It's been worse for him than any other president. I can remember with Bush, Clinton, Obama. But every president gets hammered, don't they?
Yeah, I think most presidents answer a lot of questions. I think one of the Trump campaign's complaints about fairness right now, though, is that they don't think Biden has had to fully answer for his record. And I think a lot of that record goes to foreign policy, which is why there's some complaints this week that this debate's not going to be as foreign policy heavy as they would like, because I think they really wanted to focus on Biden's record on Iraq and NAFTA and other free trade agreements, for instance.
Gotcha. Professor, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be watching, as I know you will, tomorrow night, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good rest of your morning.
You have a good day. Take a break. Be back with a programming note right after this.